Hello, and welcome to Cultural Studies. In this series, we're going to discover cultures all around the world in 5 to 9 minutes. Each episode will explore different countries, their traditions, art forms, stories, and histories. We want to introduce you to the people who make our world so interesting and find out what makes each culture unique. Let's go, and we're off to Japan to start our journey. First up, we're going to learn about Japanese culture and find out what it's like to live in Japan. But first, let's do a quick geography lesson. Japan is an island country in East Asia. It's made up of more than 6,800 islands and is home to over 125 million people. The largest city in Japan is Tokyo, which is also the capital. Some other big cities include Yokohama, Osaka, Nagoya, and Kyoto. Japan is known for its beautiful mountains, its deep valleys, its ancient temples, and its delicious food. It's also known for its high-tech cities and its high-speed trains. Now let's meet some people from Japan. Hi, my name is Anonymous. I am an Anonymous from Anonymous. I love playing Anonymous, watching Anonymous, and eating Anonymous. Hi, my name is Anonymous. I am an Anonymous from Anonymous. I love playing Anonymous, watching Anonymous, and eating Anonymous. Hi, my name is Anonymous. I am an Anonymous from Anonymous. I love playing Anonymous, watching Anonymous, and eating Anonymous. One thing that stands out about Japanese culture is the way that people show respect to elders. In Japanese culture, it's very important to show respect to elders. This is because Japan is a hierarchical society. This means that there is a clear difference between the young and the old. Younger people are expected to be respectful towards older people. They must use polite language when they speak to them, and they must also show them respect in public. For example, when a younger person speaks to an older person, they will use a different form of the verb. This shows respect to the older person. They will also avoid using slang or casual language when talking to someone who is older than them. Instead, they will use more formal language. In addition, younger people are expected to help out older people whenever they can. This could mean helping them with everyday tasks or simply listening to them and spending time with them. Showing respect to elders is an important part of Japanese culture, and it helps to create a sense of community and harmony. The next thing that stands out about Japanese culture is the way that people deal with conflict. Conflict is inevitable in any society, but in Japanese culture, it's dealt with in a very different way. Instead of avoiding conflict, Japanese people try to resolve it as quickly as possible. This is because they believe that conflict can be a good thing. It can help people to understand each other better, and it can also help to strengthen relationships. When there is a conflict in Japanese culture, people will usually try to resolve it through discussion and compromise. They will not resort to violence or aggression because this is seen as being rude and disrespectful. Instead, they will try to find a solution that everyone can agree on. Another thing that stands out about Japanese culture is the way that people view nature. In Japanese culture, nature is seen as being very important. People believe that they should live in harmony with the natural world, and they should also respect all living things. This is why many Japanese people are involved in environmental protection. They believe that it's important to protect the environment for future generations. People in Japan love spending time outdoors. They go hiking in the mountains, camping in the forests, and fishing in the rivers. They also love gardening and growing their own food. Japanese gardens are famous all over the world for their beauty and tranquility. Japanese culture is rich and complex. There are many other aspects that could be discussed, such as religion, art, music, and literature. However, these are just a few of the things that make Japanese culture unique. If you have the opportunity to visit Japan or interact with people from Japan, we hope that you will keep an open mind and appreciate the beauty of their culture. Next, let's talk about the arts in Japan. One popular art form in Japan is origami. Origami is the art of paper folding. It originated in China, but it became very popular in Japan. Origami can be used to make all kinds of objects, from simple shapes to complex figures. All you need is a piece of paper and a little bit of imagination. Another popular art form in Japan is calligraphy. Calligraphy is the art of beautiful writing. It originated in China, but it also became very popular in Japan. In Japan, calligraphy is considered to be one of the 3 essential arts, along with painting and poetry. It is often taught in schools, and there are many famous calligraphers in Japan. Let's now take a look at some of the traditional clothes worn in Japan. One traditional Japanese garment is the kimono. The kimono is a long, flowing robe that is worn over a simple undergarment. Kimonos are made from a variety of fabrics, including cotton, linen, and silk. They come in a wide range of colors and patterns. Kimonos are worn for special occasions, such as weddings and festivals. Another traditional Japanese garment is the yukata. The yukata is a lighter version of the kimono. It is often worn during the summer months, and it is typically made from cotton. Yukatas are usually worn during festivals or when visiting hot springs. We've covered a lot of ground in just a few minutes, but we hope that this has given you a taste of Japanese culture. From its beautiful scenery to its delicious food, Japan is a country that is worth exploring. We encourage you to learn more about Japanese culture and to experience all that Japan has to offer. So grab a friend and head over to the library or check out some online resources. With a little effort, you'll be well on your way to becoming an expert on Japan. Thank you for joining us on this journey to Japan. We hope that you've learned something new and that you're now one step closer to understanding and appreciating Japanese culture. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more cultural studies. Until next time, sayonara. It's also important to note that Japan is a very clean country. People here are very proud of their environment and they do everything they can to keep it clean. They also believe that it is everyone's responsibility to keep the environment clean. This is why you will rarely see litter on the streets of Japan. In addition, public transportation is very clean and orderly in Japan. People follow the rules and they do not make a lot of noise. This makes it a pleasant experience for everyone. And finally, the last thing that stands out about Japanese culture is the way that people think about time. In Japan, people think about time very differently than in Western cultures. They believe that time is a cycle that repeats itself. This is why they celebrate the new year every year. They believe that it is a chance to start fresh and to become a better person. In addition, Japanese people are very punctual. They believe that it is important to be on time for everything. This is why you will never be late for a train in Japan. As we come to the end of our journey through Japan, we hope that you have learned something new and that you are now one step closer to understanding and appreciating this unique culture. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more cultural studies. Until next time, sayonara. This is Crash Course Geography, which is filmed at the studio and made with the help of all these nice people. Hey there, welcome to Crash Course, where we explore the patterns and processes that shape our world, our minds and everything in between. We make these shows because we're fascinated by the world and want to help you be more geographically aware so you can better understand what's happening around you. Each episode of Crash Course has two main segments. First, we have a presenter who takes you on a whirlwind tour of some of the big ideas in human geography. And then we have a co-host who dives deeper into one of those big ideas in a particular place or region. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about culture, which geographers study because it helps us understand how people live together, and how places are both shaped by and shape their inhabitants. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you might remember an earlier episode we did on culture. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to know about how culture works and why it matters. Now, in our last episode on culture, we defined culture as the behaviors, beliefs, knowledge, practices, and material objects that together form a people's way of life. Culture allows groups of people to adapt to their environment and sets the context for their worldview. In other words, culture is what gives meaning to our lives, and understanding it helps us understand other people and ourselves. But cultures don't exist in a vacuum. They're constantly interacting with and being influenced by other cultures. And geographers study these interactions because they help shape cultural landscapes, which are the visible imprint of humans in a place, including the features and patterns of the physical environment that are a result of human activity. So while culture is invisible, its effects are everywhere. The food we eat, the clothes we wear, the music we listen to, the sports we play, the holidays we celebrate, even the language we speak. These are all elements of culture. And elements of culture can vary greatly. Some are abstract, like religious beliefs, values, and social norms. Others are tangible, like tools, clothing, and food. Geographers consider culture to be both a driving force of change and a binding force that creates connections between people. Change happens on multiple scales from micro to macro. Micro being day-to-day interactions between people, and macro being sweeping changes over time, like how innovation often spreads from person to person before becoming adopted on a larger scale. But no matter the scale, culture is dynamic and constantly changing through both innovation, the introduction of new cultural traits, and diffusion, the spread of cultural traits from one place to another. Some innovations appear suddenly and spread quickly, like memes do across the internet, or slowly over a long period of time, like the invention of the plow 7,000 years ago. Meanwhile, diffusion can happen through migration when people take their cultural traits with them as they move from one place to another, or it can happen without any movement at all. Ideas can travel along communication pathways like how music genres spread from Memphis to the rest of the US and beyond via streaming services. But not all cultural traits diffuse in the same way. Often innovations and ideas will only spread to nearby places through something called contagious diffusion. Like how a new restaurant will first become popular in your city and then spread to neighboring cities. But sometimes innovations spread to places that are far away first, like how sushi, a Japanese dish, became popular in the US and California before spreading inland. This is called hierarchical diffusion, and it tends to happen when ideas are tied to wealth and power. But not all cultural traits are created equal. Some traits like language, religion, and values are considered to be more substantive because they often define a group's identity. Other traits like food, clothing, and music are considered to be more peripheral because they're less critical to a group's identity, but still important because they reflect aspects of a culture. And not only does the type of trait matter, but also how it's perceived by the group. If members of a group see a cultural trait as essential to their identity, it's likely to persist or continue for a long time. If they see it as peripheral, it may disappear over time as people adopt new traits. How people perceive cultural traits is closely tied to their sense of place, which is partly informed by their sense of identity, and we tend to think of identity as fixed. But how we identify ourselves is complex and can change over time as we learn more about ourselves, our heritage, the world around us, and how people view us based on our identity. For example, part of your identity may be tied to the nation-state you were born in, which is a modern political entity that has a defined boundary, a permanent population, and a government. And, depending on where you were born, you might feel equally connected to several nation-states. Like if you were born in India, you might identify as Indian, Pakistani, or Bangladeshi. Cultural traits often highlight differences between nation-states like the food, languages, and religions that distinguish each country's culture. But as we become more aware of our identity, we also become more aware of how others may see us based on stereotypes, which are exaggerated generalizations about the characteristics of people in a group. Stereotypes can be positive or negative and are often used to justify discrimination, which is when people are treated differently because of prejudice against their identity group. But discrimination isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's embedded in laws, policies, and institutions, like how some countries require citizens to follow a certain religion or speak a certain language. And being aware of our identity doesn't just shape how we see ourselves, it shapes how we interact with the physical environment. Our beliefs and values influence how we use land and how we use resources and how we perceive the natural world. For example, whether or not people believe the earth is warming influences how they think about and use fossil fuels. And attitudes toward animals can influence whether someone is a vegetarian or hunts for sport. In fact, people's relationships with animals have varied throughout history and across cultures. Some groups like the Inuit developed a subsistence or survival-based relationship with animals, where hunting and eating animals is necessary for survival. Other groups like the Hopi have a more nature-based relationship with animals that emphasizes respect and understanding rather than exploitation. And still other groups like the Bedouin maintain a domestic relationship with animals where they raise animals for their own use. These relationships influence how people use animals and land in different parts of the world. And this is just scratching the surface of how culture works. Next time we'll dive deeper into how culture is both a unifying force and a source of conflict, which is something you'll want to tune in for because understanding how culture works helps us understand ourselves and appreciate the beautiful complexity of our world. Many cultures around the world have a tradition of storytelling, sharing knowledge and values through stories and folktales. And one story that many cultures share is the story of creation. The story of creation is a narrative that explains how the world began, how humans came to be, and how the natural world came to be the way it is. These stories often teach cultural values, beliefs, and knowledge about the physical world. One example of a creation story comes from the Yoruba people of Nigeria. Their story of creation tells the tale of how the sky god Obatala sent Obatala and Eshu to create the earth. When Obatala and Eshu arrived, the ocean was so vast that Obatala couldn't find land anywhere. So Eshu tricked Obatala into drinking palm wine until he became too drunk to continue his journey. As a result, Obatala fell into the ocean and the earth was formed from his body. And that's just one story of many. Different cultures have different creation stories, and while they vary in their details, they often share common themes that reveal insights into a culture's worldview. For example, many stories describe a time when the world was created or formed. Other stories begin with a primordial state of chaos and emphasize order as a central theme. And some tell a story of humans being created in the image of gods or supernatural beings. Stories of creation reflect a society's values and beliefs, revealing what they consider important and how they view the world. They express a culture's perception of the natural world, showing how humans interact with the environment and other living things. Creation stories also demonstrate the role of humans in shaping the world. Many stories show humans as active agents in creating the world or having a significant impact on its form. By understanding these stories, we gain insight into how people in different cultures view themselves and their place in the natural world. We learn about their values, beliefs, and knowledge, which enriches our understanding of human cultures and our shared journey through life. Thanks for watching this episode of Crash Course Geography, which was filmed at the Team Sandoval Pier Studio and made in partnership with the Digital Studio and Nature. You want to help keep Crash Course free for everyone forever? You can join our community on a crowdfunding platform.